And again, I want to just bring to the American peoples now. This is also information I want to just make the American peoples aware of concerning uh, before the nationwide boycott was called on General Mills. And then I also want to bring out the different attitude of General Mills after the nationwide boycott was called on General Mills. But before it was called on them back here in 2003, because that's when it actually happened. But let's see what community activist Alonzo Washington had to say. This is before the nationwide boycott was called on General Mills, and the community activist Alonzo Washington, after he had spoke to my witnesses, some of General Mills' former co-workers, employees rather. Let's see what Washington has to say here, and this is again before the nationwide boycott was called on General Mills back here in 2003. And it states here in the call paper here, and it states, Alonzo Washington, a well-known local community activist, had been recited by the General Mills employees to assist them. And in an interview with the call, Washington said it is distressful in these days and age for minorities to be experiencing such racism in the workplace. From the information that I had obtained, it seemed more like they are working for a cotton mill instead of General Mills. And so Washington, he spaked it with General Mills and tried to negotiate. And this is also what he said. And if these issues are not addressed in a constructive change or not made, then I will call for a nationwide boycott of General Mills product. And I am not aware of any constructive participation by General Mills within the African American community. We have a situation here of a multi-billion-dollar corporation not being a very good corporate citizen. Now, before the nationwide boycott was called on General Mills, well, community activist Alonzo Washington negotiated, tried to get them to change a lot of the sexism and racism, and even gave General Mills a list of demands to try to get things constructively done in a positive manner. However, during that particular point in time, General Mills refused it to do so. And because they refused to do so, well, then a nationwide boycott was called on General Mills' product. And General Mills, they refused it at the time to try to make any changes or any sort pertaining to this type of change that need to be made down up over there. And because of that, well, this nationwide boycott, again, as stated, was called on General Mills' product because General Mills refused to negotiate in good faith to try to make anything to be changed on this particular time. And keep in mind, we're talking about before the nationwide boycott was called on General Mills. And witnesses had came forth and gave testimonies and statements of how they have been treated and how General Mills refusing at that particular point in time to try to make any change to occur from happening and what was going on down up over here. And to keep in mind, these are the same witnesses that wanted to talk to my former attorney, which General Mills, as I have stated, I don't know how many times over and over, had gotten my attorney not to talk to. But when they talked it to community activist Alonzo Washington during this particular time and period, well, obviously the information was crystal clear that there was a lot of racism that was condoned and allowed to go on. And the union is definitely part of it as well. You may not hear me talk too much about the union, but they allowed it to be condoned because every employee down there, other than management, were union employees. Or union members, rather, not employees, but union members, and paying union members. And so the union is supposed to protect their rights, but unfortunately, the union were not protecting the rights in this particular situation. That's why a lot of the racism was allowed to go on, and a lot of it's still going on behind the scenes, more so now, but I'll touch on that here in a few.